Today, we're going to be taking a look at SH Figuarts Zamasu Potara or Fused Zamasu, and this is Zamasu or Fused Zamasu from Dragon Ball Super. This is the spoiler alert. It's not a spoiler, it's long ago. This is the combined form of Zamasu and Goku Black, so Zamasu squared, really. Box here is pretty good. Purple box, pictures of him on it. Got some stuff, Goku Blue, some various things being shown. That is the box. We get a few different items. A big purple arm, some extra faces. Very few hands, actually. Only 5 and only another set. And on the back, taped in a bag, we have this halo, which is pretty cool. So out of the box, here we have Zamasu. And he looks pretty cool, honestly. I do really like the design. I mean, the robes are cool. It's like a fusion of the Kai robes mixed with Goku Black's robes. Is it like, I wouldn't really want to call it a gi. It's more of a robe. And as far as it goes, I mean, it does look cool. The arms have the big shoulder pads. And it's just a generic black sleeve. Legs are basically just Goku Black's pants, honestly, other than, of course, the little skirt in the way. And then the torso does look pretty good. If I'm being honest, I do like the gray and red. Looks pretty great. Now, the robes are actually a pretty flexible material, which is nice, but something I noticed is the left leg here is really tight. I mean, the right is also the same. Now, it isn't helping that, yes, there is robes in the way, but you're probably not going to get too much out of it anyway. Now, these are basically just 2.0 legs, and they really do look to be just Goku Black legs, so that's something. Every time I try to move that one, the hip just pops off. I kid you not. First time that's actually really happened with a figuart, weirdly enough, where I've had a part just pop off due to another part being really tight. I did have the frozen knee on my Gogeta Blue, but that's about it for, like, bad QC issues. It's unfortunate, because this guy is brand new. First out of the box. Like, this was literally mine. I bought it mint in the mailer. So, that's something. As far as it goes, though, I mean, design-wise, looks good. You can add a bit more to him, though, with the halo, which is these two parts that are in the accessory bin. I guess talking about accessories a little bit, you have this big circle, this part here. And you just add that into there. And then to attach the halo, it has to connect onto the bottom and then up to the top. And then it will clip in. You just kind of have to move it to where it's centered. And you can have him with the big halo, which is not appearing fully on screen because it does make him quite tall. With it. It does look really cool, though. It is just kind of translucent plastic with a bit of a metallic sheen over it, so it looks really cool. And the clear part actually is able to attach to a stand, so that's pretty good as well. Getting it off, though, is a little weird, if I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes it comes off easy, sometimes it doesn't, and we're going to just remove it because it's there. There'll be pictures with it, of course. It's just kind of a big thing have on here, and it's also kind of pointy, so don't really want to stab myself, but that is essentially just Zamasu as a figure. So let's talk about his accessories, starting with regular Zamasu accessories. First, for the regular Zamasu accessories, we of course have fisted hands, which are a little different because they do have a sculpted ring on his finger. After that, we then have the next set of hands, that being his kind of karate chop, like open hands. Pretty cool, honestly. That's for that one pose that he does. After that, we then have a right hand, which is just 2 fingers. Another right hand, which looks like a Goku stance hand. And the other one is a kind of thumb bent hand. It's a little strange. And then finally, for regular Zamasu, we have the faces, starting in with his neutral face, which looks pretty good. It is just his basic face. It has the 2 potaras in it, and it looks good. And the other one is a teeth grit face. And that is all of the base Zamasu accessories. But we now have to talk about the other zamasu accessories, because as you've seen, there is a giant purple arm in the box. Now, said giant purple arm is not there for no reason, as you can remove this arm right there. Pretty good, pretty easy. No big deals with that. The other thing is this neck piece, which you have to remove the head for. Upon removing these sections here, that's a regular neck. This one here should just slide on over like so, giving you a half purple neck. You're then going to come up to Zamasu's head, of course, remove his face, and then, of course, add on this new one, which is his half-corrupted face. And then you are going to take the big purple arm. What I recommend doing is kind of move it up a little bit, and then peg it in to the arm slot, like so. And there you can have corrupted Zamasu right there, which does look pretty good. Obviously, this is a pretty good way to pose him, in my opinion. I think this looks pretty good. The big purple arm is pretty heavy, though. But he can stand, as you can see, with said big purple arm. I think it looks pretty good. The details on the purple arm are pretty amazing, honestly. I do like the look of them. Like I said, I like that they give you that neck piece, but that is why the neck is so long. And in my opinion, it's not that noticeable, really. Like, if you look at them from this side, you can see it 100%, but it's really something they probably could have skipped, ultimately. Like, they didn't have to. And I think that's what leads to that long neck. One thing I will say, though, I do love how detailed the time ring is. I love that you can see how detailed that is. And one thing we will talk about here is the arm articulation, because it isn't really as good with the purple one, but it still has everything you need. With, obviously, it's ball jointed. The arm goes out. I don't want to force anything. Again, his tolerances are a little weird. They're a little stiff, so might need a hair dryer. He does have a swivel up here, an elbow, a rotation, and of course he does also have a bit of a hinge there. So he does have pretty much everything that's necessary. And the detailing, like I said, does look good with all the goopy stuff. It's really nice. And then he does have one other face, of course, which we're just going to swap in, is this kind of yelling face. He kind of looks crazed. With this face, he looks really crazy. I do love the look of it. Well, now, one thing I didn't really point out, though, and we got to point out, is the eyes are actually asymmetrical, which they're not supposed to be. They're just, for some reason, asymmetrical on this figuart. No idea. That's one of those other big complaints of this guy. But honestly, I think he looks really, really good. I have really no complaints. I feel like I could pose him like this on a shelf with the big old arm. I love the look of the big old arm. His leg's gonna pop off again. I'm trying to like pose him up and the leg's like popping and it's making creaky noises, and I don't want to put his legs out too far. But essentially that is the fused Zamasu corrupted form. So let's just get into articulation of the basic form. Right, and so for Zamasu's articulation in his basic form, he does have a pretty good movement at the head with the ball joint and the hinge. His neck ball joint is also there, which does have pretty good range. For the back of the arm, outward, a swivel. The shoulder pads are on ball joints as well, so they're pretty movable. Does have a double elbow, rotation, typical wrist hinge. The waist, surprisingly for a character with robes, is really good. Forward, not so much. Backwards, though, pretty great, honestly. And they do actually extend the line, which is something I do quite like, that they did keep that in mind if you do put them backwards. Forward and back the legs. This does go out, but we're going to have to use this side because the left side, it seems my left side has a kind of like imperfection inside of the hip, which is why it keeps popping off. That's what it seems to be. But the hips are really tight, and they are being kind of blocked by the skirt, so I'm not going to force anything because, again, this guy's kind of expensive, and I don't want to break him. Knee joint is a doubled swivel, a pretty good ankle tilt and hinge, and, of course, he does have a toe bend. So pretty basic standard stuff all around. Nothing too crazy. And as far as it goes for Zamasu, what are my final thoughts? And I think he is pretty good. He is a pretty nice figure. I'm pretty sure he is Premium Bandai because he did come in a mailer. If I can find it. I'm not going to be able to. There's too many of them, and I don't really want to go digging. But yes, he's an older Premium Bandai release, similar to a certain someone who goes with him really well. I'm looking at you, Future Trunks from Super. Really good figure, honestly. Not really much wrong with it. Again, the neck is a little long, but that's due to them putting in that feature with the neck change. A little weird, of course. Again, hips are limited. That might just be my copy, though, and me not wanting to break it. It's just something that's there. The faces, he probably could have came with a little bit more, maybe. Again, he does only come with 4, 2 for each face. For each mode, I should say. And then, of course, he just has 5 hands, which really isn't a lot. Only another set. He doesn't even come with, like, a Key Blast hand, which is the weird part. He doesn't come with a Key Blast or anything, so it's just kind of an odd hand selection for him. Gave him a couple one-offs. I'm pretty sure he uses the 2 fingers as, like, a gun type thing. Like, that's how he shoots. I don't know. I don't really remember. It's a little bit ago when I watched it, so... But I do think he is quite cool and worth it. I got mine for actually pretty good of a price because it was no tax time in Canada. So I got him for, I believe it was $175 exactly. That's Canadian, by the way. I don't know what that translates to USD. But that was a really good deal because otherwise, when I was looking at it, it was $260. No matter what, he was $260. $175, and I got him from the same guy that I got the Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, and the Super Boo from, which would be Kadult Toys on eBay. They do have a website as well in Canada. Pretty good. I dealt with them a little bit, and they are pretty great from what I've gotten from them. I mean, I haven't had any issues with any of them, other than the loose... Actually, no, I'm saying I haven't had any. You know what? Your hip's broken. Kind of not broken, but... The hips on him's a little odd, and then Super Boo has a loose hip, but that's my own doing, and this is just bad luck. But that is essentially it. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 5. I want to give him a 5 out of 5, but he just doesn't come with enough to give him a 5 out of 5. He is really good, though, and I do quite like him. That is really all for this review. This has been my review of SH Figuarts, Zamasu, Potara, or if you use Zamasu. This has been Delete signing out.